Tulsi van der Graaf is with us. She's the founder of the Leading Your Own Change, Viv.
Welcome, Tulsi. It is fantastic to have you here tonight. I'd just like to let our viewers at home know that I've actually engaged and worked with Tulsi in the past in a couple of business deals that I had to work with, and I want you to tell us a little bit about Lead Your Own Change.
Thanks, Viv. I'm really happy to be here too with all of you. Well, Lead Your Own Change. I guess the one thing for me is that I see a lot of people struggling and trying to find solutions to the challenges that they face. And often they'll go to experts and authorities and other people to find the answer to their issues. But for me, the solution is really in leading your own change.
Because a lot of people look outside themselves, don't they, to get help, when really we've got to activate it within ourselves. So that's really, and also you have a background in psychology and a legal background. So you pour a lot of, and what's some of the work that you've done in the past in the legal field with this?
Well, I mean, I actually worked at the Human Rights Commission investigating race and sex discrimination complaints and resolving them by mediation. So I did see a different side of things when I was working there, and I've done other sort of legally based work in child protection. But at some point I fell into running workshops, and I really saw that it was really exciting how just small amounts of change or small steps could lead to big changes, and people would say, wow, that changed my life. And
well, that's what she did for me. I can't tell you enough. Even in my own personal life, I've gone to wonderful psychics. I've spent lots and lots of money on therapists, and then I would pick up the phone and call Tulsi, and in 5 minutes she sorted everything out and could have saved me thousands of dollars. So
I can't sort everyone out.
Maybe 7.
Maybe 7.
Shared with us.
Oh, trust me, with Tulsi it was much more soul-bearing.
Tulsi, your work's important.
Yes.
Yeah. And when did you realise that it was real? You were really making an impact with people. Was that a turning point for you?
Oh, look, it's interesting because I guess I come from a background of very alternative hippie parents, and I felt very not normal when I was young, and I think I was aspiring to feel more normal, and I was extremely shy. So I remember coming back from a trip backpacking in India and travelling for a year with my parents, and actually thinking to myself, I am not going to be that shy, insecure person anymore. And I consciously walked into the school and acted confident, stood tall, and gave all the kids eye contact, including the boys. And that was the first time I think I realised you can actually create your own change.
What happened to you in India that made you come back with this decision that you were going to be different?
Well, there were a couple of key things. One of them was that I ended up taking the strong bargaining role with my parents, who were getting a bit tired after 3 months of backpacking, and the other one was that I was nearly killed by a dog. So a dog actually grabbed me around the neck, and my dad actually saved me. Yes.
God, would have been scary.
And didn't your dad have a reading?
Yes. Okay, so I don't think this will interest you at all, of course. So when I was really young, my parents had an astrology reading done, and they were actually told that I would be assaulted before my 13th birthday, but it would be okay because my dad would save me. And I was attacked by the dog 5 days before my 13th birthday, and my dad saved me. So, yes.
I mean, all these things, they're moments of where you spiritually evolve. I want to ask, in your professional capacity, and you would be finding a lot of people, especially this year, we're in a number 9 year numerically, because it's about endings, they're stuck. And if people are saying to you, I am stuck where I am, I'm so frustrated, and perhaps we've got friends in relationships or even with their work, they love their jobs, they love their relationships, but they still feel stuck. How do you tell them to get unstuck?
Yeah, one of the biggest things for me is that I think we really need to appreciate that we all struggle as human beings. Part of the work that I do is to actually share my own struggles and not to sort of set myself up as the expert. So I think that first step of really recognising that as human beings we do struggle. And another thing that I think is really important is actually feeling that acceptance of where you're at. So you don't necessarily have to like where you're at, but you actually say, you know what, I accept where I am right now. And what that does as well, instead of us feeling bad about feeling bad or depressed about feeling depressed, we can actually refocus that energy and put that energy into taking some of those small steps. And the other thing that I think is really helpful is taking stock of your life, because I think often when we are feeling stuck, it's like we can't take that helicopter view where we go up and we look down and see what is happening in our life. So one of the tools that I find really helpful is a coaching tool. It's called a Wheel of Life. And I think we actually brought one here today. But basically, it's a circle where you separate your life into 8 compartments. So it could be things like home, relationship, work, those kind of things.
Evenly divided?
Evenly divided, yes, into 8.
Yeah.
But yes, that's a good question. And then you rate them, say, from 0, which is, too terrible, to 10 being awesomely fantastic. And then you have a look. So you might have some areas that are 3, some areas that are 5, some areas that are close to 10. And what that allows you to do is actually then think about what small steps you can take to make changes, and it's not too overwhelming.
Many years ago, speaking about small steps, I was studying beauty therapy, and I remember we were being given a lecture from our teacher, and she was saying, hands up those who have a messy bedroom. So I put my hand up, and she said, if you just pick up one item of clothing a day, you'll have the inspiration to start picking up more. Yeah. And that's half the problem. We think that a problem is too big to tackle. And that stuck with me all these years. I was 18 when I was doing the course, and some things just stay with you forever. So when I feel that I'm overwhelmed, we've got bills and things, I'll just take it one step at a time before you know what you've done.
Now, that's a good thing about doing exercise. Because how many of us, and we've got Christmas coming up, and we're all inclined to just have the carbs and have the beverages. And I've got friends who've just come off a ship, and they're all saying, I'm as fat as a fool.
Don't you hate that?
I drank till I was at the end of the earth, and they're feeling like they're prisoners of their conscience.
Yes.
But look, as long as you take the first steps to go for the walk, preferably not with the dog, because the dog will take you. But it's a step, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think both what the points that you raise, they're really important, and actually research shows us that they're the smaller steps are actually the things that lead to the most powerful change. Because then we don't feel overwhelmed, and we actually show ourselves that we can do it, and we get more confidence and more connected to making those changes.
Yes, and that is the answer to overcoming your fears. Yeah.
Well, I think fears are a different thing. So at different times people will say to me, how do I overcome my fear of public speaking? Or, we can list a whole range of fears.
Yes.
And I think that one of the things that's really important is to recognise that actually fear is good.
Yes.
In that it protects us from risk.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. So we do need it sometimes when we're under threat. But at the same time, we also need to recognise when we're doing something new and we're going outside our comfort zone, we are going to feel that fear.
But Tulsi, what about, and I see this a lot with men, and men who are very proactive and successful, you can tend to get the negative voices in here.
Yes.
What about when they overwhelm you?
Yes, I don't think it's just men, by the way. I think we are all in that boat together.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of what I do is around sort of recognising that we are in that human struggle and that those voices are something that we all have. But so with those voices, they're the voices I think we all know. We all have our personal style, but it's, I'm not good enough, other people are better, will I do it okay? I think a good example that I can think of is, say if you get your dream job and you think, oh, I'm so happy with this job, this is so wonderful. And then those voices start.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't make the right decision, or maybe I'm not good enough, or those people might not like me, or
I won't be able to hold the
or I won't,
position.
etc., etc. So what do we do with that? So that's where it's really great to expect that we're going to have those voices. I like to call
Is
it.
that common?
I
get the feeling it is.
I think you're right. I think it's everybody.
Yeah.
And I like to call it the monkey mind because it helps me remind me that it's separate from me. It doesn't have to be with me. So we can connect to our purpose or connect to the thing that we know we need to do and then say to those thoughts that are trying to sabotage us, I'm not listening to those.
Yes.
But it also can be really helpful to speak to a trusted person or to even write down some of the things if you really want to say that job,
Yeah.
and you say, okay, I'm really happy that I'm doing this, you actually write that down
Yes.
so that when that monkey mind comes to hassle you,
Yes.
you can read back and
And
remind
it's your
yourself.
positive affirmation.
That's right.
I refuse to listen to that.
Yes. Or I can just
Yeah.
say.
That means about a third of my mind is a monkey.
But I think it's recognising that it will always be there.
Yeah.
But if we recognise that, then we're not fighting with it or feeling bad about it. We're just saying, okay, yeah, there are those thoughts. I expected them. That's okay, but you can be separate from me, and I'm still going to follow what I need to do.
And very quickly, I do want to talk about this. It's something that's close to my heart, is a wonderful charity that you've been working with, running workshops
Yes.
to help empower women. And the charity is called Dress for Success in Sydney. Is that correct?
That's right.
Just tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I was lucky enough to come across that charity 2 years ago, and it basically helps women in need find employment. And I've been running workshops like Trusting in Your Ability and Finding Your Vision for Dress for Success clients, and also running coaching training for professional women who coach the women in need. And I have to say that was actually the inspiration of creating Lead Your Own Change, because it made my heart absolutely sing. And I had women coming up to me afterwards and saying, you know what, that's just changed my life. And it's just the most beautiful organisation. They do so much great work, and I'm going to be designing an over 50s program for next year as well.
Which
they'll love you.
I'm going to be involved in the
Thanks,
Over
Steve.
50s program. I'm going to be getting my hands in that and getting involved in that, helping the women as well in terms of hair and makeup and styling.
Like more information, you can go to our website and find out more about Tulsi van der Graaf, and that's www.allaboutyouaus.com. And thank you very much, Tulsi, for coming in. I hope we get
That
you
was
on the show
brilliant.
again.
I'd love to come back,
Children
Steve.
would
I
love
feel
you.
like my life
Will.
has changed
Yes.
again.
Yes. You've got a motherly look, if I may say
Oh,
that. I think the kids would love you as well.
Oh, well, I have two
Yes.
kids, and I hope they love me.
They adore you, Tulsi. When is your next workshop on?
Oh, well, for Dress for Success or generally?
Generally.
Well, I'll have to check my calendar.
Well, we'll be keeping it all posted on our website. So stay tuned, guys. Look forward to having you back again.
Thanks,
you.
Tulsi.